All right, let's move on to another game of the SAC. We got Wayne at Dwenger. Dwenger, of course, the reigning 4A state champs. It's the return of the state champs to the field. It's the return of Chris Schwarzkopf back as the head coach of the program on the sideline. So a lot of excitement leading up to this one. What do you see? Because just 2 years ago, we were talking about the Powers twins, and Wayne goes 9-2. They win the SAC. Last year, they go winless on the season, but they've got some young talent, specifically in their sophomore class, that I think is going to get I think we're going to see kind of what they have or what the future looks like against a talented team like Bishop Dwenger.
Yeah, Darius Alexander, the sophomore, I think he's the name to watch. Kind of a Austin Robertson-esque clone, plays D-end, a very freakish athlete, and he got a lot of playing time as a freshman. Talking to Coach Derek Moore in the offseason, and I say, well, what did you learn your first year? And he said, humility. He goes, I came into this league a little arrogant. We had just come off the SAC championship. Granted, they lost a lot of guys, but he thought they'd keep it rolling. And he said, you know what, there's coaches and programs in this league, and it's a very tough league, that make it look easy. And he's like, I just learned that, man, it's tough. It is a hard grind week in and week out. And he understands. They changed some coaches. They really kind of doubled up in the off season in weight training and tape studying. He knows they have to commit a lot more. They're not just going to do it on athleticism. I mean, the Snyders, the Lewers, Dwengers, they do it with athletes, but they also do it in the off season and the work they put in. And I think he learned a lot passing that on to his team. I think Wayne takes a step up. I don't think they're back up in the upper echelon. They're going to play a heck of a lot of sophomores this year. I think they're going to take a step up.
Yeah, DeAndre Collins-Jones takes over at quarterback. He's a senior, and they got a sophomore in Craig Young. You're talking about the newcomer of the year basketball-wise in the SAC. I saw him out at New Haven. This kid's 6'4". Saw him at New Haven win the 100 and 200 meters of the sectionals, and now he's on the football field. I know schools like him, and they saw him a little bit last year, but I think he's going to be a guy to watch as long as they can block up front, buy some time, and just throw the football up in the end zone, a la, I don't want to say James Hardy, but a la James Hardy.
Yes. Let him do his work. I mean, we see that all the time. Will Chrisman was doing it at DeKalb. It's like if you have an athlete like that who is a mismatch just with his size, let alone any sort of athleticism he has, you got to get him the ball as much as possible.
Well, let's talk about Bishop Dwenger, because they graduated a number of talented guys, specifically the offensive line that was really their bread and butter last year. I don't think you could talk about it enough. Jeremy Herber, all those guys up front did a fantastic job blocking for Amon Clark. Obviously, Amon had the foot injury. Not sure how much time he's going to miss start of the season. Blake Pichelny's back at quarterback. You got Peter Winklejohn at linebacker. You've got a number of guys that have tasted what it's like to win. So what are you looking to establish week one if you're Bishop Dwenger?
Well, I think you got to survive without Amon Clark. I think he's been saying week 3-ish. Coach Schwarzkopf said week 2-ish. So week 3 or week 4 is probably what we're looking at for Amon to come back. But Coach Schwarzkopf just could not stop gushing about Blake Pichelny and just his development. We saw him come. He may have been the most improved quarterback in the area from week 1 last year to the state finals, because early in the season they really had to rely on their running game, and yeah, it led them to the state championship. But he was able to pass the ball when they needed to, and he was really excited about the next step that he had taken in the offseason. So you could see them a lot more vertical, especially early in the season before Amon comes back, in the offensive game. And then, defense, you mentioned, you got Peter Winklejohn. Frankie Yanko is tremendous up front. And Mitch Effinger is probably one of the 2 best cover corners in the league. He was one of the he took Austin Mack one-on-one last year and was really able to limit him. So he's back too. So I think that defense has some pieces.
Yeah, and I think seeing them play 7-on-7 and then seeing them a little bit, just highlights of their scrimmage. Tommy Steele at the receiver position. I think he's a guy that maybe you don't know a whole lot about going into the season, but I've seen him make a touchdown catch in the 7-on-7 city championship, and then make a touchdown catch right out of the gate in the scrimmage game. Number 21, maybe a guy to watch for Bishop Dwenger this season.